people who are at the beginning of their journey and they want to establish their own brand, or let's say their business, and what would be the expectations in regards to finances, times, efforts that they need to put in.
So allowing yourself, first place yourself to make mistakes and then claiming them.
And this was about AI, and AI taking away jobs. And there's plenty of jobs out there. But if you don't have that within yourself to go and get it and do it and believe in yourself, you've only got yourself to blame. Well, welcome to InfoMatters Podcast.com, and it's episode 20. You might think it's episode 22 because Kenny last week said it was 21. Go figure. Anyway, there's some changes this week. We have a new co-host in the studio. You might recognise him. Adler, how are you doing?
Hello. Thank you. I'm good.
That was informative, as you can see. Adler will introduce our guest in a moment. So first of all, as you know, thank you all. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, subscribe and like on the little box below, and you'll have a chance to win some of the I always get it wrong. InfoMatters Podcast merchandise.
If you don't, a kitten will die.
We nearly have umbrellas and trucker caps, similar to these, but not quite as good. But anyway, if you're in the know, you want to be in the know, you want anything, or you're interested in any position that we have advertised below at extelligence.com, please add it in the comments below, recommend to your friends, win some merchandise, and we hope you enjoy the session.
Come check this.
So, Adler, would you like to introduce our guest for today?
Sure, yeah. So thanks for that introduction, Danny. And we're here with Donna Poul-Graf. And
you got it right? There you go.
First try. Didn't even
not bad, mate. Not
okay,
bad.
That was great. So, welcome to the show. And this is, as Danny mentioned, is the 20th episode of our podcast. Not to be confused with the 22nd
21st,
again.
yeah.
Yes, but so...
And why is Kenny not here?
He forgot the
Key.
life-proof thingy.
Yeah, he was deep faked. So we didn't want to get involved with Donald Trump or NASA or some of the guests we had before. We didn't have Donald Trump, but he's been deep faked and he's not here for the moment. But bless you wherever you are.
I guess based on the feedbacks that we received today, we will determine if he should be back
coming
or not.
back. Yeah, you heard it from us. Ring that bell. So Dana, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We do know each other. From many moons ago, and in a social circle. So welcome to the show. And
Thank you.
Let us know about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dana. I'm originally from Slovakia. I do enjoy international environments, which is predominantly why I was professionally.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we share.
We're not sure where Adler's from yet, but he's
we're working on it.
Whip.
Okay, so while you work on that, let me tell you that my background is in advertising, communication, strategy. I enjoy human psychology. I enjoy being in touch with people. I enjoy learning about them, and also that's linking to my passion in organizational psychology. So those are areas that I continuously update my education and knowledge in.
Cool.
And nowadays I am focusing on leading a boutique consulting called
Nice.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm pretty sure there might be
fancy.
some opportunities out there. We'll list the company out, which is Key and Spark.
Yeah.
KeyandSpark.com. So if you want to have a butcher's, I'm pretty sure you'll find it very interesting. So.
Thank you. Yeah, and so what we do in Key and Spark is work with leaders on different levels to help them achieve their visions and their objectives. And the way how we do it is in a way that it's sustainable for them, but also that it helps their environments to thrive, to be evolving in a way that is good for everyone.
Cool. So if I was a C-level leader, what specifically would you come to me with and say we can help you with this in terms of like the image of the company, the brand of the company, how I lead the company? What would be, or would you amalgamate all of those components?
Well, ideally you would come to us because you would.
Damn! Ring the bell.
You would come to us because you would have some kind
Those
of
needs.
challenge.
Okay.
That let's say you try to tackle it yourself or internally, or potentially you could not fully disclose, you didn't feel comfortable disclose internally for a variety of reasons, and you would be looking for a third-party thought partner to walk you through that and to work with you and partner with you on that topic. What concretely that is, I would not want to name some range because we cooperate with 8 plus senior experts in their fields,
Okay.
or we call them cooperating partners. And so our span of topics that we can cover is pretty wide. What defines us, though, is this trustful relationship with the CEO. And when there is trust, then we first obviously tackle whether the perceived problem is a real problem. We go deep into a discovery, analyze the data that we have, and then once we tackled and identify what the core issue is, then we discuss how best to approach it and what is the most efficient way to achieve the goals.
Okay, Adler, you must have a problem. Give us one.
Um,
And that, I don't mean, you know what I mean.
Where do I start? You actually mentioned something that is quite interesting. You talked about.
It was that easy. It was that easy. We don't even say dump anymore, do we?
You don't even have to sound like a donkey. You know?
That right? Well, there you go. Yeah.
But you talked about thought partnership, and I wanted to see if you can maybe expand on that to the level of between the professional and personal kind of a mindset of the C-level and leaders. That how do you find the balance to help them with that, to navigate their thoughts and help with that partnership?
Right. Yeah, thanks for that deep question. Really.
Yeah,
The
hang on a
keyword-
minute. Can we replay that on the monitor?
The key word that I use is mindset. Yeah, nowadays there's so many pressures and stresses especially for C-level, but really for all executives in varied sizes of companies. And so how to keep your mindset in a way that is actually a resourceful state for you, and how do you sustain the peak performance that is requested right now from you. So those would be typical topics that we tackle. And it's obviously linking to the prominent problems of the workforce nowadays. Some of them we all feel, right? First of all, it's an absolute resignation period. Right now, the latest numbers from LinkedIn and Microsoft, 41% globally.
Wow.
It's crazy.
What, resigning? People resigning
people
due to...
considering to resign.
I
this
consider
year.
every day, but I can't afford my watches without it.
Yeah.
Correct, right?
But yeah, I mean, it's hand to mouth, or is it watch to? Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a thread. If you consider, it's not too far from action.
It's
And
not. It's not true.
Yeah, then it's linked to the second big challenge that came prominently after COVID. I mean, during COVID, we all were facing this fact that we are imperfect and our energies are finite. Right?
And doing Zoom wearing shorts instead of a suit, but yeah.
That too, yeah. So
Yeah.
we would not even take care of ourselves.
That's a
and
good.
go
That's a
right
good.
into work.
You know what? We were talking about it just walking into the bunker, and it came up. You know how you go on presentations. We all do it. I still do it now, and I've never thought of it from that aspect. There's, you take care of yourself. You feel better about your presentation. Oh, I need a camera under the table. And you present yourself better. You're more confident in what you do. Same as
Yes.
you go to a job interview. I mean, I'm not talking. C-level is a completely different thing, which we'll keep talking about. But you feel good.
Yeah.
You present good, and people feel good around you. Yeah, they say the suit makes the man, and I kind of fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a really good point that you said now we have about 46% of resignation in big
Crazy,
companies
isn't
like Microsoft and LinkedIn, and you also mentioned COVID, which to me it sounds like a period that people should have felt a bit more thinking about the security of their jobs rather than just trying to let the job go or be more picky about it. But it seems like there's a kind of a counterintuitive effect since COVID, or what do you think the cause of that increase in the resignation from that perspective?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And what's really happened is
Kenny, you're doomed.
Yeah, there he goes out the door.
happy to come again for Kenny.
By the way,
Oh no, we're all there for Kenny.
By the way, I haven't paid her anything to give me those compliments for question.
No, you haven't. But the aftermath of COVID is about a really big reshuffle in the employment landscape, right? So what changes the where, how, and why we work.
True.
So facing our mortality has caused that we don't want to waste our energy, especially not somewhere where there is no meaning.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of, there are days you think the job's a job. You do it because you have to do it. You have to pay your bills. You have to do this. There's days I have, and I love the fact that I've got the team I've got, and I actually enjoy doing it. And then there's days you bang your head against a brick wall. Because it's very hard to get in front of C-level management, you're at the top echelon. What are their daily concerns? What are their daily challenges that they come to you and go, they've got the whole corporation.
Mm-hmm.
What are their daily challenges? I'm interested to know what they come to you about and need help with, assistance.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, they are as human as we are, right? So it's important to recognize that they are exposed to same pressures, just in a bigger or more intense level than we are. And it's also extremely isolating to be on the top of a company, and the responsibility is ultimately in their hands for the success of the overall company, no matter what's going on externally. And we know how much is happening these days. So they also nowadays have to be really ambidextrous. That's a term that I love.
That's a belter. That's like in Czech, Neroširženejší.
I can't say that one.
I'm not a farmer, but that's a belter.
Right, but what it really means is that they have to hold a certain duality, and that is first take care of the constant change inside of the operation that's happening now, and then also look at what changes they need to impose to be able to be competitive in the future. Right, so that's a completely new skill. Not to speak about hitting the balance right on how we execute or exercise flexibility. Majority of employees, we all do, want flexibility. However, typical leadership activities are much harder to execute when you're not physically present. So that's another big topic. How do you hit the balance right?
And you've got a balance also between, you have your organization, you've got your people. That's one. But then you've got the brand. And I know brand, marketing management is one of your topics as well. So like with Nike, you can lead all your people and your production's going up, but your brand's pants. Whoosh, I like chips. McDonald's took a big step. McDonald's took a big step and went from red and yellow to green and yellow. It cost them billions, but it's in people's faces every day. So they've got to make those decisions, or the teams underneath them to make those decisions. And if you make the wrong one, that's got to have a massive impact.
Yeah, correct. So there is nowadays a big push for data-driven decisions. So that is not a gut feeling that leads you. And also, it's hugely important to make strategic investments in experimentation and allocate the right amount of resources for experimentation. Because there is nowhere written how much is right, but we know we have to experiment, otherwise we won't be competitive in the future.
Okay.
Right. And you talked about at the C level being flexible and having the ambidexterity.
Neroširženejší, Bob.
And what kind of, let's say, tools or methods you would recommend to be able to have those kind of flexibility and be able to cope with that kind of duality?
Oh, that's another
great question.
That makes me think.
It's like you just open his back, put some coal in, he's like,
yeah.
I don't know how to answer that, so it's all yours, Anna.
Thanks for helping.
Well, it's your question anyway. I've got you. I'm with you. Don't worry. I'm with you.
Well, that's why we
I'll do the second half of it.
Yeah. See, I don't think if it was as easy as giving you someone an instruction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you fulfill this and you got this. It's not that easy. It never is, because it's a mindset. So there's a certain inner flexibility that you have to nurture, and it goes hand in hand with being able to understand that every change has a certain flow, and that no matter how many times you've been through it, you will experience all the levels. And then you have to also understand that you have to pull yourself as the first one out of it. So there's a certain resilience as well, an element of being able to bounce back from whatever is happening. And also I think it really helps to be authentic and vulnerable. So allowing yourself, first place yourself, to make mistakes and then claiming them.
Yeah, own them. Yeah,
own them.
And own them. Yeah,
is really important to be transparent about it, because what you're doing by that is you are inviting also everyone else.
Transparent unless you know the outcome. Did you do it, Danny? No. Adler did it.
Yeah.
But because in the highest, not in the highest echelons, in the brand side of things, in anything within a company, C-level management, negative publicity. That's got to be the worst. That you have a brand campaign, a marketing campaign, an AI campaign, whatever, and it comes back and it's false. Do you then go in and help kind of pick up the pieces and say, look, it's not all lost. We need to work on a more positive path forward.
Yeah.
Do you do that for your clientele as well?
Yeah, definitely. A strategy around crisis communication is definitely that we can offer. And typically how you would approach it is really publicly own it, own what happened. Second, you would engage with those customers that were impacted, if possible one-on-one, depending on the impact, or in any most personalized way. And also, you would be very transparent about what quality assurance steps you're putting forward in the future. And
there's your pay slip off. Just digging my way out of out the barriers.
So I think switching gears now to branding and what Danny was talking about. Obviously, there is a very big influence of social media into all of that, not just for the company branding, but also personal branding and how you establish yourself and make yourself recognized. So how do you think that it would be best to use those tools that we have now available across in different platforms, different social environments to help companies or individuals to improve their brandings?
Yeah.
I'll shorten the questions for the next meeting.
You're just jealous because I asked good questions.
Yeah, no, you did. Boom. I'm looking at this going, not bothered.
Yeah. I think social media, like everything, needs to be met with an objective. Yeah, it's many times we have clients who come and say, hey, we're investing so much money and so much efforts into social media, but there's no return on investment. It doesn't work. And we're like,
what am I doing wrong?
But
That's the producer. He's like, see that pile of cash?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question is, what's your objective? What ultimately do you want to get out of this? And then what's your strategy? And how does that fit into your overall brand strategy? And how does that support your company strategy? If you don't have those questions, at least on a high level, answered, you may put a lot of resources into efforts on social media. And yes, you will be visible, but will you be visible to the right people?
Sure, yeah.
Will you get any leads? Will you get any return on your investment is the question. So first of all, ask yourself for the objective. And second, we in Key and Spark are true believers that it's not always about the reach. Of course, in some instances, reach is incredibly important if you go for volume. However, it's more about the value you're providing. So we're not recommending hard sell. We are recommending to balance selling activities on social media with providing value to your listeners. What does it mean to provide value? Well, some kind of improvement for their life, for their environment, for the community.
And do you also help your clients in terms of how they collaborate internally and externally? In terms, because C-level all across the board, from sales, marketing, HR, C-level management. Everybody, in terms of a social media presence about the brand, is exposed to their clientele, to potential new clientele. All of us, regardless of what the brand is, we're facing them now. That's a brand, the water's a brand, and how that comes across. It must take a lot of collaborative effort from the high levels down to make these strategies work.
Such a good point you're making. So this is what
I told you
he's watching cricket. I know, I like points. I'm not a question guy.
She's just too kind to us.
I know.
I bet she tells that to everybody.
And you know what? That was a comment I got on my performance review once. You're too kind. I'm
There
so
you
glad
go.
we are living in times where compassion and kindness is
I bet you're one of
appreciated.
those people that you walk on the street and someone comes and says, how do I get to McDonald's? You go, that's a great question.
Whereas
Actually, I provide answer in that case.
Whereas I go, I don't speak English. Good point. Anyway, there we go.
Where were we?
Good point.
Yeah.
What was the question? It was just a point, though, wasn't it? The collaboration from how you implement a strategy that allows collaboration internally, that's visible when deploying that strategy.
Right. Yeah. So this is where many times the process is broken or the reputation can be broken. It's surprising that leaders come to us saying, well, I would love to build my personal brand, but actually my company is restrictive about me publishing. And it's not a single case. It's actually quite a common occurrence. And I think what companies don't realize with that is how much potential they're actually limiting for themselves with that.
Yeah.
And stopping or somehow censoring can also really backfire, obviously, on the reputations. There's a huge power hidden in so-called employee advocacy programs, right? Where you actually encourage and empower and educate.
Well, that's going to be frustrating. You want to do something, you can't.
Yeah.
And that you'd like some key and spark, you come in and they go, wow, I want to do that. But you get too much pushback to go and do it. Whereas you can see your competitors, flagging down the road, doing the same thing. I don't suppose, how do they overcome that? That's internal challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about why is it really happening? And what I read into it, I don't have it validated, but what I read into it is that there is some kind of fear behind it. Yeah, typically.
Boom, fear.
Yeah.
Good point.
There you go. Yeah.
Isn't fear? I mean, fear is instilled in management regardless. You have your hierarchy, you have your tiers. There's always fear. If you fear the C-level, but you have to. That's just the way the hierarchy of business works. But you mean fear of committing to doing something?
Well, this time I will completely disagree with you, Danny.
Good.
If you allow me.
I wanted that.
How dare you say that?
I wanted that.
Get out.
I'm not C-level.
Go where Kenny is.
I don't know.
I believe all humans, and it's not just a belief, it's a fact that all humans are wired with fear. It helps us to survive, so it's one of the primary preserving functions. So it will be, whether it will be in a hierarchical or non-hierarchical company, there will be somewhere fear. But what is the responsibility of the leader is to actually establish a culture of psychological safety. And I know we may know the term, but let me maybe just spell out the definition from the mother of psychological safety, Amy Edmondson, who says it's actually a culture where you don't feel the fear of being humiliated or punished for speaking up with your concerns, questions, ideas. And I think that's a big thing, right? Interpersonal risk taking needs to be allowed.
Yeah, we see it. I mean, we see it day in, day out. Doesn't matter which company you work for. Really doesn't matter what role you're in. If you don't speak up, you don't get yourself heard. Well, then you're gonna come across, angst, anxiety. I'm not happy with my job because you've not done anything about it.
Exactly.
And we had a guest on a few weeks back, and this was about AI and AI taking away jobs. And there's plenty of jobs out there. But if you don't have that within yourself to go and get it and do it and believe in yourself, you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah, agreed. Plus, what is there then for the company left? When I am in a fear, I'm not productive, I'm not going to perform in my best. Forget about innovation. Yeah, it's a complete opposite of psychological safety, where you can reap the benefits of diversity and great minds that you have at the table.
It's actually a great point, and speaking of fear,
Point,
I
not
think,
question.
yeah, that was a great point that led to this
Nice one, Adler.
amazing
You go for it, brother.
conversation. That speaking of fear, because you had this amazing journey in your career, starting from, let's say, copywriter to planner to event manager, and then to head of communications, all the way to founder and CEO of Key and Sparks. Now that you're a thought partner for a lot of C-level companies. So if you want to go back to the beginning and then just shut up.
How would you get that out?
And then you want to give yourself an advice as a thought partner of that you are now. What would you tell yourself to do better in that career path?
For the audience out there, the audio is working fine. Just takes a few minutes to
absorb. One of my key values is honesty. So I'm now really.
You're not on your own. I'm next to you, just going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you talk about fear and kind of like having that as a human to drive your career and to make sure that you kind of like use it as a fuel, not as a barrier.
Yes.
And you obviously taken that path. Which I'm sure has been full of fears, and it wasn't an easy path to take. And you are in a place now that you advise very high-level people against those kind of barriers and fears, and how to utilize that in their lives. And I'm sure there are certain things that you probably would have done differently with the experiences that you have now. So what would be that you would reflect on back if you look at your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't prepared for some of the jumps that I made in my career.
I thought you meant you weren't prepared for that question. Neither was I.
That's
a good one, though. It's a good one.
I wasn't prepared for
wasn't
that.
in the script.
Yeah.
But I do know what I would tell myself now. And I would tell myself, relax, you've got this. It would be that simple.
All right. Yeah.
Hey, nice one.
I guess that's probably simplest and best kind of advice that I've heard, that you can just, because one way or the other, I think if you believe in yourself and if you kind of know where you're going, like back into your previous comment, that you need to know your target, you need to know your goal, and I think that kind of navigates you.
So what's been the toughest challenge you've had, both personally in your company, when advising a client? Have you ever found yourself in a position where you're getting so much kickback that you weren't able to deliver on it? A negative aspect of what you've done, and on the flip side, what are you most proud of in terms of delivering one of these strategies or helping a client?
Yeah. There are definitely very rewarding moments. I'll start with them. When we prepare, specifically now when we talk about brand strategies, there's this magic moment when after all the crunching and the intellectual work, you come to the client and you present it and they say, wow, that's exactly me.
And you have no fear.
No. Typically there's no fear in these moments because we put so much work in that we have it substantiated and we know it will be good. And there's typically nuanced feedback, obviously, that we are happy to take in and respect and incorporate. But that moment, there's something magical when the client.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. And what are the areas that you? I mean, there must be growth. There's always growth in terms of what you understand, what you can offer, what you can do. Where do you see yourself, both personally, company wide, your team, in offering? What are the most challenging or most interesting aspects coming to the field in what you do, of how you can help people, whether it's technology, people, geography?
Yeah, I mean, for the team, the vision is to continue doing work that helps humanize business environments.
Nice.
And do it in a professional manner that is science-based and that is proven by experience, as opposed to by gut feeling. So to prove that business can be done in a compassionate way than in a human way, and that there can be progress, and that traditional ways don't always have to mean that they're the best ones. And we see leaders as multiplicators of that change from the inside. So that is my vision, to continue that team, to continue that path with the team. And because they're amazing individuals in this team, I'm quite persuaded that
I'm going to go and work for Key and Spark. Like that little warm feeling goes, you're late for work, Danny. No, I'm not. Don't fear, I won't kick your head in.
Yeah, sounds like a great kind of an environment and the mindset that you go. And I wanted to ask, because when we were talking about branding and you were talking about the goals and what is important and how to get there. What are the, let's say, the main key steps you would need to take if you needed to rebrand? Let's say if you're taking a path that you need to change, or for whatever reason.
McDonald's, red and yellow, green and yellow.
What would be like the rebranding steps in that perspective from your experience?
Yes. So first of all, we would be looking at where your brand is now. What's your as a situation? We would be looking at where you're positioning yourself on the market. What is the perception of your current customers, and potentially what is the perception of the customers of your competitors? Then we look at the competitors and we also map out their verbal and visual style. We'll look for different cues. That actually we then map out on a whole sort of positioning map, if you like.
Yeah.
And once that's done, we uncover some space that is, let's say, not yet occupied. And your brand positioning will be formed through connecting that empty space, if you like, with your unique selling point. And that's how brand positioning is created for us. And the outcome is a brand strategy.
And what challenges do you face with that? When, let's say, you've built a brand strategy and you go to respective management, you're presenting. Have you ever hit a roadblock when they've come back and just literally, no, I don't like that. I don't see where you're going. And how do you get yourself out of that kind of situation?
To be quite honest, that didn't happen yet.
Good, you passed.
And it's not because we are somehow.
You position yourself that way. That
it's not because of that. It's simply because we take steps and we engage the client in a way to prevent something like that happening. I would feel that we failed in our process if we come with an outcome that is completely off the track.
And what would be your advice for, let's say, people who are at the beginning of their journey and they want to establish their own brand, or let's say their business, and what would be the expectations in regards to finances, times, efforts that they need to put in that to get to where they would consider themselves successful.
Yes. So I would first of all think about what is the value, the unique value you can bring to this world, to people, in form of product or service that you want to put out. Then secondary, I would encourage you to think about how you want people to feel after they interact with your brand. It's a question that we rarely ask yourself.
It's the most important question, because they're the end consumer. That's the brand.
Yeah, exactly. And then, regarding the finances and resources, I would not like to put forward a recommendation that is in a number. It's really about where you are at and thinking about how you want to start. What I would encourage you is to start as soon as you know what you want to offer.
8 million. Okay. Let's give Adler a call.
It almost sounds like this Japanese ikigai kind of a thing, that what people want, what you can do, what is best that for you, and how to drive it all together in kind of like combination.
Absolutely. And that's so important what you're bringing forward. Like, you have to have your passion behind it, because if you don't have your passion, I mean, this won't be a smooth ride, that's for sure, right? I am in my 5th year of entrepreneurship, and it's keeping me on my toes. But it's much easier to overcome the hurdles if your passion is behind what you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Absolutely.
To do it for yourself, regardless of 20-hour days, the rewards, I'm not saying that work isn't rewarding, it rewards all of us. But when you do it yourself and you drive it yourself, and the passion, it's it's something totally different. You're listening to that, Kelly?
I am.
And where's your passion, Danny?
Listening to people like yourself, because I actually get motivated, from all of the shows we've got, and listening to people and gaining knowledge, because we're all, we worked in the same corporation before, dealing with C-level management, which is not something I do, but, I engage with my teams every day, and I try and empower as much as I can, and have jokes and wear different hats, same as doing the show, change my background on my Teams calls, because people every day look forward to that little thing that's not just the norm of, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, things are going wrong, no one's helping me. And that idea of, I'm empowering them, I'm not the boss, but, I'm part of the team. And every day being able to do that, I might curse and swear and go, bollocks. 12-hour days are a little bit too much starting at 6. And you are watching the show later on. But it's those little nuggets of positivity that you've given during this show that I'll take away, as positive.
Yes, fabulous.
And they're all really good points. And it doesn't matter what level you're at. We mingle with C-level managers, CEOs and what have you, who are normal people. And it's when you know these people as normal people, and we're entrepreneurs, you get to meet those people on that level and realise that we're all the same. You might play pickleball, and I might play cards, and I might paint a picture, and you might play guitar, and you play the piano. You all share common values. But when you go to work, it's no different. You've just got to share those values again with your people, and you'll get the results. And I think you've demonstrated, how you're doing it with Key and Spark, and how you portray your positivity. So a credit to you.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you as well.
That was a point.
Yeah,
that was more a statement.
Exactly. That was a really, really like a sentimental, great point.
Well, it's the first. I've been, you put me on the spot. Then I'm like, right.
Also,
I get paid for this.
Yeah, which was also very, very true, because I also found it really fascinating just listening to your experiences and the discussion that we had. And on that note, do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to share that you think that maybe we didn't cover?
Your camera's right there.
Your camera's there. My camera's here. Danny's camera's there.
Yeah, get away from my camera.
Well, maybe that's an opportunity for me to say, if anything that I said inspired you to get in touch with Key and Spark, feel free. The team is absolutely amazing and value-driven. Our key values are honesty, fairness, excellence, and professionalism. So we would love to also extend that to you. If we can guide you or support you, it would be a pleasure. And thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Dana. It's been brilliant. And
It's
again,
been a
everybody
pleasure.
out there,
Thank you.
if you're inspired by that, keyandspark.com.cz will be in the box below. Please ring, subscribe, send it to your friends. We're here. Info matters means info matters, and we're here to share it. Thanks again to Stelligence.com. Thanks, Khalid. He's actually called Adler. Khalid sat over there. Just changing names of Danny.
Yeah, Adler. Nice to meet you.
Adler.
Yeah, next
we don't
time-
know each other, that's the problem. But thank you all again. Thank you to everyone on the show.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, it's been
have
a
a great
pleasure.
day, night, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you.
See you.
Goodbye.
Bye.